Hey, everybody, it is Trash Talk. It's Tuesday, it's 8 a.m., and we're usually a very, very jovial couple of guys, but today I think we're going for the jugular.
I think we are. I know
Uh,
I am, and it's not unheard of for me to do that. But I'm pretty amped up right now.
yeah, no, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about social media and some of the changes that are being made, and it's like typical corporate where they use the people that they need to get them to a certain level and all, and then they just chop them off at the knees. And all. So I know, Brandon, you have reached out in so many directions to make it a little bit financially profitable too. And then all of a sudden you're getting notices that, oh, we're not going to do this anymore, or you have to do this in order to get this.
It's wild, Look, social media at its core is a fun, innovative, entertaining way to stay connected, way to be involved as a hobby and all that. It has become over the years an opportunity, as anything would, to be financiable, sustainable for some people, to make it. There are people I know that have full-time jobs doing this and it
Right.
pays for them. I'm not that guy. I can't do that. If I didn't have a son, I could probably dedicate a lot more time and maybe get to that level. I'm
Right.
just that's not it. But I will say, and I will say this, over the years, the last couple in particular, or whatever, the income that I've got from social media, whether that be a sponsor that signed up for a couple months or just getting paid from platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and things like that, went from, oh, that's cool, I got a little fund deposit, that's nice, and here's some gas money, to, wow, I'm going to use this to pay this bill. Wow, I'm going to use this to put in my savings account. There's
Right.
actually been times, because now as I'm tracking the money a lot more, where I've been like, thank God that money's coming in, because I've got to get a repair on my car, or we got a trip coming up. Social media, for the most part, paid for Luke's Christmas. I used all that money for Luke's Christmas.
Yeah. And you get to the point where if you keep doing what you're doing, then the checks keep coming in. And so you can kind of get a feeling that, okay, there's a little bit of consistency here, and I can bank on so much per month coming in. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, they give you a smack in the face and say, we're either not going to pay you anymore, or you have got to do these 5 things in order to continue to getting paid. And I think, didn't you say that TikTok is really almost at the top of the list of what's being thrown at you?
Well, so we've got a two-prong attack here to this conversation. The first thing is that the really big things that are coming for content creators, podcasters, even just people that I know that just literally make extra money doing these hilarious reels. Like, that's their gimmick. They're like comedians, like internet shtick comedians.
Right.
Zuckerturd, or as I like to call him, Casper the Not So Friendly Ghost. Um, he's been in a lot of trouble for a long time. Look, when you
He loves
steal an idea,
trouble.
yeah, right. When you steal an idea and you make billions off of it, and you didn't create that idea, black clouds tend to follow, and that's what happened to
Yeah.
him. He got hit by Congress. He got hit by a lot of things, but he was losing. Facebook was losing, and Instagram was losing a ton of content creators, we'll call them subscribers, and advertising dollars to TikTok and YouTube. I mean, we're talking millions. This isn't me making it up. It's out there. It's a fact. So he said, you know what? I see the way of the future with what TikTok's doing with these videos. I'm going to create Reels, which essentially is a 90-second, minute, 2-minute video. And I want to drive people to create original content, original shows, original reels on my platforms, just like TikTok. Well, people weren't using it. People weren't really doing it. The advertisers weren't buying it because TikTok's been steamrolling everybody. Well, then he said, I'm going to entice people to do it by giving them options to make revenue. whether that be from ads, whether that be you reach this many reels, we're going to give you X amount of dollars, sponsorships, gifts, all that. And so it really did entice people. And I took it seriously. I mean, it was great for the podcast, great for our show, because we could promote it and we would gain viewership.
Right.
But I started to see the checks come in once a month, and I'm like, I'm focusing on that. It's not to say I didn't do TikTok or anything else, but I focused on that. I took time to create that. That has been going for about, I want to say 2 years, a year and a half, consistent good money. Not like all of a sudden, one time I got $15 in my bank account. That was just fun.
Right.
I'm talking about 2 years, good money. Well, they just announced about a week or two ago that they are no longer going to be offering real bonuses for content creators. They are taking the percentage that you get from advertising down. They are making the requirements for subscriptions and gifts and sponsorships. They're raising that level, and they're cutting it across the board. After they begged us and boosted their numbers, they're cutting us at the knees. This comes after they created and implemented the podcast program, which took directly, if our podcast went to Spotify, it was instantly posted on Facebook on our page, like instantly.
Right.
It was great. And you could literally watch or listen to the podcast on Facebook. They implemented that. They made a big deal about it. They reached out to me and thousands of other creators. That lasted about 5 months. And then he said, no, boom, we're done. If you want your podcast on here, you can post the links yourself, or you can do more lives to get more followers. They were driving people for original content, and they killed it. My listenership went down 10% because of that.
Do you think that this was an effort to try and outdo TikTok?
Yes, absolutely.
Because the reason I say that is because now what they're trying to do is there are, as you said earlier, there are some people that make a living at this. So, hey, if they add Facebook Reels to the TikTok postings, fine. I'll just spend time doing that. But there's other people that have a limited amount of time, and they can do one or the other. And they started with TikTok, and so Facebook now drives them away. And now they leave TikTok because they only have time for the Facebook Reels. And now they get slammed. So what are they going to do? Are they going to try and go back to TikTok? And is TikTok going to now put a barrier up?
Well, it would be nice. People, the overall look, TikTok has around 150 million people on TikTok.
And that's just in the United States.
Right. We're not talking China.
That's half of our population.
That's half of the pop. And it's not just what it used to be when it was, a bunch of millennials and half-naked girls on there. It's not that. I'm not saying that's not there. Of course it is. It's
right.
Everywhere on social media. There are major corporations that use TikTok to advertise, to promote. You have, and this is when we're going to get into the hypocrisy of what's coming down the pipe, or what just really, as we're doing this, as we're recording this, tomorrow or 2 days from now, the CEO of TikTok has to appear in front of Congress to try to save this app because the U.S. is trying to ban it. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah.
But you've got senators, actors, movie companies. You're not seeing the promotions on regular TV anymore because people don't watch regular TV. So how are you going to market these people? You only have few choices. You go on YouTube, you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, you go on TikTok. Those are your places to reach the people that are going to go see your movie, vote for you, or buy your product.
And most of that is, I think one of the reasons is too that they can get their message across in 60 to 120 seconds instead of having to buy airtime and do a 20 or 30-minute show. By just throwing it constantly at people, 60, 90, 120 seconds at a time, and you get your point across. And as
Absolutely.
you said with advertisers, 150 million people are following it. Just play the odds, folks. If you put an ad out there, there's going to be a significant number of people that are going to see it, whether they want to see it or not. I
can tell you that I have bought several items from TikTok because I saw them on TikTok.
Yeah.
I have also went and watched several TV shows that I knew nothing, series or documentaries or whatever, that I knew nothing about. A guy who like just pours in, pop culture. I knew nothing about this, but because of TikTok, I saw it. And now I'm a fan of this particular actor, this musician, this company.
Right.
And I mean, so that's me, just one dude. So you
Right.
know that they're reaching people, but the problem was it was biting Zuckerberg in the butt, losing millions. His ideas didn't work because Facebook has come up with nothing innovative. Zuckerberg has never come up with anything innovative by himself.
He's a
stolen
follower,
it.
not a leader.
He's a follower. He's trapped in the metaverse with his stupid glasses on, not getting any sun, and he's lost. He looks like a pale potato chip. Okay, let's just call it as we see it. He's the worst human being on the world, by the way.
And crispy like one too.
Crispy. And I don't care because you know what? He's taking my income away. So if you want to kick me off that app, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. That's totally fine. But meanwhile, because of that, what does Zuckerberg do? Zuckerberg starts paying politicians, political figures. He hires, and this is again, not me making it up. Go ahead and research it.
Right.
Hires a political marketing campaign to run a smear campaign against TikTok, which gets in the ears of politicians, teachers associations, religious groups, and they start raising a concern about the dangers of a Chinese government owning this app and getting all of our data and potentially stealing it and controlling the US population. That's literally what's happening right now. Yeah. They want to use TikTok as a spy agency, is what they're saying.
Right. Instead of knocking on the front door to have a conversation, I'll just go through a back door or go through the window.
Do you know he paid more to political campaigns than any other social media group out there?
But what he paid was a drop in the bucket.
But guess what? It worked. It worked because who else? Because guess who else paid? Google paid. And the reason Google paid is because because for the first time in years, Google's advertising numbers and their search numbers have dropped. Why? Because more people use TikTok to search for something than they do for Google nowadays. So Google's paid. So now you've got these political figures going, you know what? Let's look into this. They get to use China as the boogeyman.
Right.
And now it got to the point where, and we don't know because we're recording this, and yes, it's airing after the congressional hearings and all that. We'll find out. We'll give you guys an update. Now they passed a bill in Congress with Democrats and Republicans that will give President Joe Biden, by the way, the guy who was just on TikTok on St. Patrick's Day in the White House, to give President Joe Biden the opportunity to ban TikTok in the US if the Chinese government doesn't sell the app. What kind of egotistical assholes are we that we're going to force a company to sell it? You do this or we're going to ban you.
Right. So where does all this end? And at the same time, not only you got Facebook and TikTok and all this, but you've got probably 20 or 30 other platforms out there that are repositioning themselves and trying to find ways to grab those podcasters and everything away so they can build their platforms by offering them a few bucks. And when they build their platforms up to a certain level, then they'll cut them off at the neck.
The thing is, when we look at what's happening right now, this is not about China stealing our data, which, by the way, I have to throw this number out there. Do you want to know who the top 3 companies are on the internet for data breaches?
The top 3 for data breaches?
Data breaches and selling your information, which, by the way, anytime you sign up for anything and you hit that terms and conditions, you're selling your soul to the devil regardless, because none of us read it. Okay.
Right.
But the number, 3 companies, 3 platforms, we're talking internet based, that has the most data breach errors and has settled in more class action lawsuits than any other company. Do you know who they are?
I think I'm gonna put my money on Google.
Okay. No. Number one is Yahoo, which I didn't even know they existed anymore. So
Yeah, I thought everybody just dumped their Yahoo platforms and all for Google or whatever.
but you run across that guy who's got a Yahoo. You can email me at
Yeah.
jimbobjacob@yahoo.com, and you're like, who are you?
Well, yeah, and every once in a while I see an AOL and
God.
and Hotmail.
Oh no, Hotmail is like when I get anybody with a Hotmail account, I know they're living in a cave in Somalia somewhere,
Right.
But so Yahoo's number one, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Number two is our favorite pale pasty guy, Facebook. Number three is still our pale pasty VR living zombie, Instagram,
Which is an offshoot of Facebook.
which is an offshoot. Do you know where TikTok lands on that? They're like number 20 something, 30 something.
Really?
But they're going to come at us that the Chinaman wants to see, look, take my data all you want. I don't care. Because the reality is, I've signed up for so much crap, I couldn't protect my data if I wanted to.
Yeah, and that's something that I think the average Joe just doesn't realize is that if you are a part of any platform, your data's out there.
And when you put your stuff in the cloud, you have an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
When you sign up with Apple and you register your iPhone, which you have to do,
right?
You give Apple permission to go into your phone anytime they need to do an update, regardless if you install the next iOS or not.
Well, every once in a while, when you open up an app, it'll say, "Do you want to share your data, whatever?" And you have a choice of saying yes, no, or only when I have this app open.
That's a little bit different, but you give Apple the right. If there's an issue with your phone, guess what? They're going to go in and fix it, regardless if you install the iOS.
And then they send you a notice saying there's an issue with your phone. Yep. And you need to update this or update that or give us this additional information. You're right.
When you upload stuff to the cloud, the minute you put anything in there, you give them the right to go in that cloud anytime they want. Your stuff isn't safe. And by the way, guys, where's Apple?
Yeah.
And who makes our phones besides the slave labor that they have digging in the dirt to get the batteries for our phones and all the crap that goes in that? Who do you think makes our phones? Yeah. Why are we going to look?
Right. Or their cousin Samsung.
Right. We can be afraid of China all we want, and that there's probably legitimate reason to be concerned, especially since him and Putin just yesterday fist bumped each other and aligned. I would be a little concerned about that. That's not a good thing.
Right.
But TikTok, on the other hand, look, come on now. And the hypocrisy of it, because this is the funnier thing. I had a Republican candidate, or not candidate, congressman, an official Republican congressman on TikTok explaining to us why we need to ban TikTok. I can't.
Yeah.
It's asinine. And the hypocrisy of it all is we had that massive train derailment. And I mean, we've had like 10, but we've had that massive train derailment in Ohio. And I'll bash Biden for a while. I'm okay with that. President Biden took a week to respond about it. Took 24 hours to respond about Facebook. We had, and I said this on my podcast, we had the MSU mass shooting. I found out about it on TikTok, by the way. The news didn't report it till the next day. I mean, we have massive protest in Paris right now. Massive. Nobody's talking about it. You go on TikTok and it's actual news. It's there. It's being reported. Why do you think they want TikTok to be silenced? Has nothing to do with China.
It's all of our media that wants it silenced because they're getting the scoop on everything that's happening. They're
control the narrative.
They're making it old news by the time the media gets onto it to report on it.
But they're not even reporting on it even when they get on it. Well, nowadays the media is just really spouting off about what they believe in instead of reporting the news. And that people can sit there and talk about our podcast and the fun trends and all these things. But the thing that I enjoy really the most about TikTok is the news. I found out more about the world, and I mean real news, not just, stupid stuff, like stuff
Right,
that you
right,
can
right.
research.
Who's mouthing off against who?
Right. I found out more. I had no idea what was going on in Paris until I started seeing that on TikTok and started researching and digging down the web of what's happening. And the biggest thing that makes me frustrated too is we sit here and we talk about protecting ourselves and we've got to take care of our children and all this. Well, that brings up a really good point. Do you know what the number one app is that has had more child trafficking incidents than any other social media app? It's Facebook.
Yeah.
And in 2020, the percentage of child trafficking and human trafficking incidents where people were being lured, where they went missing, was up by 20%. The number two, and here's the other one. The number one after that in 2021 was Instagram, 43% increase.
Really? And see, I think I would have pointed a finger at like Pinterest or Snapchat.
Look, Pinterest is just like, I mean, let's be real. Like, there's really not a whole lot on there. I know people use it. I think
Yeah.
it's starting to turn into more of the scrapbooking days. Like,
Right.
Snapchat, yeah, nobody talks about Snapchat. I think it's there, but I don't think it's what it. TikTok kind of took the Snapchat crowd.
The thing is that the people that want to get photos, whether they're honest, straightforward, realistic photos, or they're off color photos, if you want to get it out there, who do you want to go with? You want to go with the biggest numbers. And when you got half of your population connected to TikTok, it makes more sense. Hey, if I want to say something, I don't want to say it 12 times via Pinterest and Snapchat
Absolutely.
and all of that. I'm just going for the Cadillac.
If you're going to reach these new generation, if voting is important to these people, because that's what keeps them in office and that's what pays them. They don't care about us, but that's that gives them a paycheck. If that's important to them, there's only one way to reach this generation of voters, and that is not the traditional way. That is not what we did with flyers and convention. It's through TikTok. It's through this or YouTube. I think the company that's going to benefit if TikTok gets banned, I think YouTube will see a massive spike in content creators, and they'll have to readjust. I think YouTube has the best platform for people to shift, in my opinion, because they ain't going back to the metaverse.
And right now, I think YouTube, their audience is a little bit more mature, whereas TikTok is the one that's reaching the people that really are making the decisions at the grassroots level right now is the younger generation, and whatever they follow, that's that's gold.
And if the politicians cared at all, which we know they don't, they would listen. I was in a discussion the other day on TikTok about careers are dead. Careers are dead. I don't care what anybody says. I think that careers are on a life support system right now. And the topic was about that because of everything that's going on with inflation and the cost of this and the cost of that, people are just working at a job to survive. They don't even, they are struggling to focus on a career, because if they focus on a career, they're either living with mom and dad or they don't live anywhere. They can't buy anything. So we were talking about this, and you would think that a politician would look at that and say, these are the people that this is their concern. Let's address that. But they don't. They want to ban TikTok. And Joe Biden, he can't even walk upstairs and he wants to ban TikTok. Come on. Unbelievable, man.
Well, one of the reasons he wants to ban it is because of all of the people that are really using it to their quote unquote benefit.
Sure.
The mouths that are using it right now, that's what he wants to really shut down.
Yes, yeah. He wants to clinch that. Plus, he's getting told to do that. And do I think in the long run that Biden's going to ban TikTok? I think it's probable. But what I really think, it's the Republicans playing a long game, because they don't have confidence that Biden's going to win again. I mean, I don't know if anybody does. I personally think that he probably will if he runs again. I know he said he would. I think he will. I think the Republicans have two major front runners. And let's be real, they're going to tear each other apart. Like, I want to watch it.
Yeah.
I want to watch the two of them argue.
Yeah.
That's it. But I don't
This
think
is going to be like going to be like a good old fashioned cockfight.
Yeah, I want to watch that. But I don't think that they're going to win. But that being said, the Republicans believe that if they can pass this and Joe Biden gets on his desk and approves it, that he has the power to do it, whether he does or not, if a Republican president gets in there, you bet your money they're going to ban it instantly. Trump tried it.
Yeah. Yeah.
DeSantis has talked about it. You watch. They're playing the long game.
Well, we hope you'll play the long game every week and be right here to listen to our banter and chatter and all, and hope for that we've said a few things that maybe have perked your ears up and said, you know, these guys, geez, these guys are starting to make some sense. I mean, I don't know where that came from for us, because it's unusual for us, but
Look,
you know,
every now and then you got to get important, you know, you do, you got to, every now and then we got to come out there.
We got to take care of that 10% of our viewership that really turns to us for something important.
Right.
So tune in again next week, because we want to really get to the other 90% of you. Take care. See you later.